Hi, guys. I've lost my background. Hello, and welcome to my lost background episode. It was destroyed in the fire. There was no fire. I lie. There was absolutely no fire. But I'm not using a background today. I'm going au natural. You can see the hijinks that goes on behind me. There's my ring light that I usually use. No ring light today. All natural face. There's my treadmill that I often run behind the scenes, behind the stage. So this is all very exciting for everybody. I'm sure that they get to see this background that they've never seen before. Welcome to the Savannah Performance Project, The Interview. It's Friday, Juneteenth, and I'm wearing a hat because I don't know. I just thought today would be a good day to wear a hat. My hair looks disheveled, so I'm hiding it underneath this hat. This hat says Scotland on it, so I'm supporting the country of Scotland. But I'm going to ramble here for a little bit because I'm a rambling man. And speaking of rambling men, today we're going to be talking to Kris Truelsen. Truelsen. That's it. Am I going to get a thumbs up there on that pronunciation? Oh, that's a terrible pronunciation. But he's gonna correct me as soon as I come on. And I even went so far as to get the correct. See, I can't even pronounce actual words right now. That's what's happened. The hat is squeezing my brain and causing me to go into fits of linguistic panic. But in the meantime, I'm going to bring Kris out here. We're going to talk about all kinds of things. We're going to talk about the history of American music, not the whole history, just a little bit, a brief portion of it, and also his radio program and radio station. And I can't wait to bring him out here. And we're also going to talk about how we know each other. It's going to be amazing, and you're going to love it. So please stay tuned. And without further ado, Kris, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, Kris? Yeah, linguistic panic is something I'm accustomed to.
Wow.
As a radio person.
I'm sure. Yeah, you do a lot of this, don't you?
I do a lot of talking and a lot of babbling, and I half of the time 75% of the time don't know what I'm talking about. But I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for having me on your show. I've watched a few of your programs, and I think it's really cool what you're doing. And so thanks for having me. Hey. I decided to go au natural too with my face, which is also kind of a brave thing to do today.
Yeah, I think so. I think today is about being brave to a certain extent. I mean, we try to do as much as we can. This is probably a minimal amount of bravery as opposed to what this day represents to a lot of people. So, yeah, and I didn't realize that we were wearing the same outfit today or similar, but
yeah, you're looking good.
Thanks. Yeah, that's crazy how that happened.
I've got my hat is Jalopy Records. This is a record label in Brooklyn that I work with, and they're awesome. So that's who I'm repping today.
Okay, cool.
They do a lot of like current kind of American roots music, and they kind of highlight a lot of Southern vernacular music and musicians, which is pretty cool. All the way up in Red Hook, Brooklyn.
Red Hook, Brooklyn. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So all the way up there, but they're representing a lot of the stuff that was developed in more southern states, I'd imagine.
Yeah. There's quite there's this record label is actually also a folk club. So a lot of touring musicians go through and play there, and the venue had been set up. I think it's been around for about 15 years. And you know, they really love kind of the roots of American music, and a lot of the people who are involved in that theater and in the record label are really dedicated to kind of preserving the traditions of early American music.
Yeah.
So they put out one of our records, Bill and the Bells, which is my band, a couple years ago, and keep on putting out really great stuff. Obviously, during this time, it's been really, really hard on their organization, as it is with like every small music venue across the nation and across the globe. So there's a lot up in the air, but they continue to do really cool work.
Cool. Yeah. So speaking of Americana and that style of music, when did you first know that you were that kind of musician?
It took me a long time, actually. I started playing guitar and messing around with various instruments in my late teen years, like a little later than a lot of people do. And I guess I kind of got into sort of country music and blues music via the Rolling Stones, because I loved like early Stones, and I loved like garage rock of the '60s and kind of some of the nastier sort of rock and roll of the '60s. And as I kind of dug into those artists, I realized like where they were pulling all their influences from. And so you could connect the Rolling Stones, folks like Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley. And then when you listen to Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley, you can connect them to a generation before, to folks like Charlie Patton and some of the greats, well, Muddy Waters and all of those great artists. And that kind of led me down the road from 1960s music into the 20s and beyond. And I continually sort of really dug into that history and got more and more interested in finding out like how all these musical paths cross. Because obviously, I mean, musicians are always drawing inspiration from all sorts of places, but it's really amazing to see how many of these paths really go into Southern music of the early late 19th century, early 20th century. So from there, I really started to get into acoustic guitar. I was playing electric guitar when I started, and then got kind of an old, really beat up old K acoustic guitar when I was 20, and started trying to play sort of like fingerstyle blues, but I couldn't find anybody to teach me. I grew up in Colorado, and there weren't that many people in Colorado playing that kind of music at the time. If that comes as any surprise, but it was hard to find people playing like Piedmont blues and stuff like that. And I was really into guys like Blind Blake and Blind Boy Fuller and a lot of the North Carolina area, South Carolina, African American pickers. And so that stuff is really hard to play when you're just beginning to kind of try to unfold what they're doing. Takes a long time. So it took me 10 years to even wrap my head around what the heck they were doing. And this is pre kind of a lot of YouTube stuff where you could actually find a lot of resources of people telling you how to do this stuff. So this was kind of just finding all this stuff out on my own. But that led to me really appreciating, country music as a whole and realizing like how important it is in the music that we listen to today, and how foundational all those styles of music are to the music that we hear today.
Wow. So the program that you've developed now, it's kind of a radio. I don't know how to describe it other than it's like a Prairie Home Companion a little bit, but it's mostly Go ahead and tell me about it.
Farm and Fun Time is a show that I started. I started a radio station coming on 6 years ago through the Birthplace of Country Music Museum, which is a Smithsonian affiliate in Bristol, Tennessee, Virginia. That's all kind of founded on the idea of like early commercial country music. And there were these sessions in 1927 with Victor Talking Machine Company and Ralph Peer, where he hired a few people to come down and find a lot of the musicians down here who were really talented, who could make kind of records that were representative of the music that you would hear in East Tennessee and Southwest Virginia. So Ernest Stoneman, a wonderful musician from the Galax area, he rounded up a bunch of musicians and they cut a bunch of records. And next thing you know, they kind of had their first huge hits that were considered hillbilly music.
Mm-hmm.
So the Carter family, they recorded on that, one of the foundational country music families. They first recorded in those sessions, and Jimmy Rogers, who's one of my heroes, he did his first recording in that session, and a whole bunch of other greats, Alfred Carnes, all sorts of amazing musicians. But anyways, so all of our content at the museum is based around that whole story and how it connects to contemporary music, how it connects to our life today. So when we were putting together our content for that museum, we wanted to talk a little bit about the connection between country music radio in the region and how important it was in commercializing country music in the 40s and late 30s, 40s into the 50s. And we were given quite a few amazing artifacts that we were going to have just on display in the museum. One of those artifacts was an old console. That's an old Raytheon console that was used on WCYB in Bristol. Mm. And it was their original console that they got in 1946 that all the DJs used for many years. WCYB was a really important station that had a pretty big signal that reached about 5 states. So it reached into South Carolina, West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee. Was that 5? I think that was
so.
5.
Yeah.
North Carolina. And one of their big shows was called Farm and Fun Time. A lot of the early bluegrass musicians and country music musicians started their career on that show. And it was a typical country music kind of variety show where farmers would come in at noon and would want to hear some local music. So folks like the Stanley Brothers or Jim and Jesse would be on air at noon and would play a bunch of live music, and then they'd give like a farm report, a weather report, and some various segments, do some sponsored jingles, and that was that. And that would happen every day. And it really was a launching pad for a lot of these really important musicians who now are foundational to country music and, who are in the Hall of Fame and that sort of thing. So it's the show Farm and Fun Time is not really a well-known show these days, but it was really historically significant. So when we started, so fast forward, we got the console and everything, and we were like, well, we don't want to have a stoic display. We want or a static display. We would rather, why not turn this into a community station, actually use these artifacts that we have, and try to build new community and surrounding all the great music that we have now. So we did that, and now we have a community station called Radio Bristol. We've got about 35 DJs, all from the Bristol region, Tri-Cities region. And it's really been amazing. The growth has been awesome, and just the community building has been really, really successful. So we highlight all sorts of local musicians, all sorts of regional musicians, but also a lot of historic content as well. So one of the shows when I started Radio Bristol, I wanted to bring Farm and Fun Time back. Mm-hmm. So we got permission to use the name. And that was the first show that we launched on Radio Bristol. We have a performance theater that's actually in the museum that seats about 100. And so we do it in front of a live audience. And we started shooting it for television just a few years ago with the idea that we would pitch it to PBS. And since then, it's gotten picked up by Blue Ridge PBS and a bunch of other stations. So it's a throwback show, but we do our best to keep it in a contemporary setting to really make those connections between the past and now, and to show people it's really how much similarity and how much overlap there is these days with the music of our past.
That is really cool. So I'm trying to pull it up right now. I've got your January show from this year.
Yeah. And
I was watching it earlier, and you were talking about there were big plans for the show. There were massive changes coming on the horizon. You want to talk a little bit about that? And my guess Yeah, go ahead.
Some of those massive changes have happened unexpectedly with COVID. So, you know, we haven't been able to do our normal broadcasting as we would with our live audience. We did get picked up by Blue Ridge PBS, and it's being syndicated throughout the Southeast on PBS stations, local PBS stations all over. And we've got some pretty big things happening as far as national syndication right now that we've got our fingers crossed are going to come together here in the next few months. So, you know, I think with that show, it's probably before I could announce that it was actually becoming a TV show. And since then it has. And we've got backlog of our first season is all edited and has been airing. So we're about halfway through our first season of the TV program. The radio show has been going for about 5 years. So now kind of what we're looking at with the struggle of the epidemic and social distancing and following CDC guidelines, we've done a few shows from my front porch, which has been cool. We've had live audience sitting out in my front yard and hanging out, and that's been nice. But you know, we're not going to keep doing that. We're going to try to figure out some creative ways to keep the program going. It's very tricky though, because we have to sell tickets. You know, we have to hit our we've got a budget that we have to hit with ticket sales, and we want to make sure we're paying our artists well. So when we have these kind of restrictions, it makes it very hard to figure out logistically how we can actually make it work. So we're still kind of trying to do that.
Right. So for those of you who haven't seen it yet, I'm going to share a quick clip of Farm and Fun Time.
15. Cool.
I love this, that you've done the whole thing on YouTube, and you got like all the background getting ready stuff. I think that's awesome.
5, 4, 3.
So we do. This is a full live broadcast, and then we edit through TV. We do a post edit.
Very cool. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
I just love it already. I don't even have to watch.
That's our intro song. We're on the border. Have you been to Bristol?
I have not.
Okay, so we're right on the border of Tennessee and Virginia. State Street, smack dab down the center of State Street is the border. So you have Tennessee and Virginia right on our main street. So we open the show with the Virginia song, and we close with the Tennessee song, just because we have to be we have to be politically correct.
Sure.
Yeah.
Got to give the nod to both states.
That's right. Who knows what would happen if we didn't?
Yeah. And those that trio there, yourself and the two ladies, that's Bill and the Bells.
Yeah, and Andrew back there on bass as well.
Oh yes, of course.
Yep, and that's my band. We've been a band for about 5 years, and we're the house band for the Farm and Fun Time. Touring, this has just been crazy, man. We had a very heavy duty touring schedule for this summer that obviously isn't happening, and you know, we're making the best of it. We're sitting on a record right now. We finished a record in December. Not sure what we're going to do with it or when, just because like financially we have to figure out, we need to make some money before we can put it out.
Right.
Because they cost a lot. So we're going to be patient. I'm really excited about the record. It's all original material. And we had a fella named Teddy Thompson produce it, who is an amazing producer and musician in his own right. He's been kind of a leader in like the Americana scene for a long time, and he's got a new record out. He's just fantastic. So he helped kind of push us into some new boundaries, trying to sort of get into a poppier side of the songs that we do and how we present them. So I played some electric guitar on it, and it's cool. We got lot of percussion, a lot of drumming, and all sorts of stuff.
So it's a little adaptation of that Americana then.
Yeah.
Very cool. I was also viewing a video. Smile for Christmas. Was that the name of it?
Yeah. Smile, it's Christmas.
Smile, it's Christmas.
Yeah.
And I've got to suggest that people go and watch this, because I find your face in this video. I just laughed the whole time until the very end.
I'm chasing a squirrel right now.
Oh, good.
Sorry. I'm losing focus. Let's connect. Can we hook these dogs up to the leash? Yeah, they just went crazy. I guess you're speaking of like my stoic, like deadpan face.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I write a holiday song every year and do a video for it. Oh, Ruby wants to be on film.
Oh, hey, Ruby.
Looks. Hey.
Hey, Ruby.
But that one was our last one that we did, and I think sometimes like the holidays can be really hard for some people, and I wanted to kind of write a song that was representative of that, but also sort of tongue-in-cheek a bit, but like kind of like focusing on the fact that the holidays aren't all joy.
Yeah.
They can be hard.
Yeah.
So
I like
Smile,
that.
it's Christmas is kind of like it's smile. We're all spending our money and we're broke,
Right.
and we're at the mall again.
Yeah. I mean, I get the message totally. We're all there during Christmas for sure. I sometimes wonder why we put forth the effort, and then you get to that point where it's like, well, it's over. And I don't know that it was exactly everything I expected it to be. That's for sure. And then, of course, have people that are all alone on Christmas, and yeah, absolutely. But still, I laughed at the video.
Nice, awesome. Yeah, those are fun to make, and like as a band, like we love doing video content, and we always like try to figure out how to make effective videos like on the cheap, because and I think like trying to make a video on a budget really lends itself to having to be creative and think outside of the box, which is fun. So we definitely have figured that out.
Very cool. So I'm going to give people a link to that. Bill and the Bells. Yeah, here we go. Share. You get that first little block of the drum there. So speaking of music,
yeah.
Do you have anything in particular? Linguistic issues here. Do you have anything in particular you'd like to play today?
I would love to play a song or two. I've got my guitar here.
Nice.
I'll play. This is one that's on the new record. This is a talking blues that I wrote. That
right.
I don't know if people know talking blues. You probably have heard Woody Guthrie. Bob Dylan did some talking blues, but they're just talking songs. And there's a lot of great talking songs in country music history, and this one is not one of them.
Okay.
This is called Sobbin' the Blues, and this is a true story.
All right. I'm going to give you the stage here. I'm going to relinquish myself for a minute.
Sobbin' the Blues. I'm not one to weep and I'm not one to cry, but ever since I got married, my whole life has gone awry. I'm trying to figure out what I did to deserve such a fate, and how one woman could be filled with oh so much hate. I've been heated, I've been beaten, I've been badly mistreated, I've been called so many things that should never be repeated. I've been poked at and croaked at, it's a wonder I'm still breathing. Surprised it lasted 3 weeks before I said to leave. Now I'm sobbing the blues. Well, life for me, it wasn't always so mean and rough. up, leaves to smile and laugh and think about happy stuff like sunshine and bunnies, hitting the lottery and winning money, and saying things like, bye, I'm going fishing, honey. Well, with those days gone, I went to see my friend Bill. He's been married about 30 years, happily, if you will. Said, Bill, you've been married quite a long time. Tell me, man, how do you maintain your peace of mind? Well, he looked at me mean and he looked at me cruel. He said, 20 straight years I've been sobbing the blues. Now you kids listen close, a word of advice before you set out the door to get yourself a loving wife. Think for a moment, maybe think twice, maybe get a background check. How about 5? Well, in the end, it's up to you what you do with your life. I'm not trying to scare you, I'm just trying to help you decide. And if you don't listen, there ain't nothing I can do. Soon you'll just be like me, you'll be sobbing the blues. Sobbing the blues.
Nice. Nice. Love it.
Thanks. It's my Talking Blues that'll be on that record. We don't know what the record's going to be called yet, and we don't know if it'll ever come out, but we hope it will. We spent a long time on it, and I'm really thrilled with how it's ended up. But hopefully we'll get it out sometime toward the end of this year, I'm thinking. It's kind of crazy because all of our touring schedule, is like moved to 2021. And it's just interesting to see where we'll be in 2021, because it doesn't really leave room for us to like get other gigs because we already had our season booked. So it's kind of, this is definitely like just kind of skipping a year.
Yeah. So have you guys had a chance to get together and rehearse online?
We've gotten together. We've done Farm and Fun Time from my porch where we did it all like 6 feet apart and wore masks and stuff and did a live video shoot. So we have gotten together. We get together in the backyard and play and stuff. I've been using this time to really work on a lot of new things, like learning new instruments and stuff. I've been learning the banjo and been learning piano. So it's been awesome to have time to work on sort of creative endeavors that I wouldn't otherwise have time to do.
That's very cool. Yeah, and you see, I've spent my time doing this, which I've certainly enjoyed. It's been amazing being able to reach out to people and talk to them every day. So, in that sense, it's been a blessing in that sense. And
you've got to feel a deep sense of connection. I mean, seeing people every day, that's probably even more so, connecting more so than you were on a normal basis, it seems like.
Oh yeah, I'd definitely say so. Absolutely. My mom's watching. My mom wanted to clap for you. So.
All right. Nice.
My mom's always watching. Always watching. So you got another song you want to play for us?
Sure. I'll play one. What one should I play, Mandy?
Mandy's choice.
All right. This is by request from Mandy, my girlfriend who's over there.
Hey, Mandy.
Hi, Kris.
This is another new one. This is called Good Friends Are Hard to Find. And I'm proud of this song. This one took a while. Let's see if I always mess up the words. We'll see if I can get it.
All right, here you go.
When the world gets you down and you feel all alone, and you can't find a friend or a place to call home, and sorrow wraps hold of you tight, nothing seems to go right. When they smile and they laugh and look you right in the eyes, after knowing they've deceived you, knowing they've lied, when the one you love isn't true, and they all turn their back on to you. Good Thankful to know you, proud to stand at your side. You'll always be a pal of mine. When they smile and they laugh and look you right in the eye, after knowing they've deceived you, knowing they've lied, when the walls are all closing in, and you doubt you'll ever love again. Good friends are hard to find. Take comfort in knowing you're a true pal of mine. When you're down in your eyes, life treats you unkind. Bear this one thing in mind. Thankful to know you, proud to stand at your side. You'll always be a pal of mine. Yes, you'll always be a pal of mine.
Lovely, lovely.
Thanks.
So,
I missed one of the verses, but I almost got it.
oh, that's okay. I didn't know.
I'm thinking I wrote that last year and I've performed it probably like 40 times since. And I don't think I've ever gotten it right.
Well, it's always new. That's what life is.
It is.
Let me ask you this, because I just got a feeling from that song. Was that written for your dog?
I like that. It should be. I think I will dedicate that to Ruby, and I think unconsciously it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's my best friend, and she sticks by my side through it all.
Yes, I met Ruby one time, and
that's right.
To that fact, she was definitely sticking by your side.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
No, that's great. That's great.
When she's my guardian. That's like, she thinks that's her job. Yeah. And she takes it very seriously. So when we're in the car and like a guy she doesn't know comes up to the car, she gets crazy.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I'm glad you weren't wearing a UPS uniform.
No, I wasn't wearing it that day. That's just some days I decided to put that on.
I'm seriously thinking of becoming a UPS man just to try to mellow her out, because it's like she needs, I get packages sent to my house all the time, and she just cannot. She loses it.
Yeah,
that's her breaking point is UPS and the Postal Service.
Wow,
very stereotypical dog.
Yeah. Well, good. Be good, Ruby. Be good, because he wrote a song for you. He subconsciously wrote a song for you. So speaking of songwriting, you write jingles as well, correct?
I do. I've written a whole bunch of jingles. We do jingles on Farm and Fun Time for not only our sponsors, but for various segments. So like, we have a segment called the Heirloom Recipe segment. That's a storytelling segment. Mm-hmm. And on that segment, we'll have someone from the region come and talk about a food that's important to them and how it connects to their story or how it connects to their family. And after they present their story, then I sing a song about it. And usually it's in jingle form. So it's kind of a shortened, condensed song. So I've written a whole bunch of jingles, and it's kind of cool because it's become sort of like a side hustle for me a little bit too, because like businesses in the region reach out to me to write them jingles, which I never really thought I would do.
That's awesome. I was talking to Mandy beforehand. I've got to raise some capital so I can get you to write my jingle.
Count me in. Count me in. Yeah, that would be awesome. I wrote a jingle for a place called Dip Dog that's in Southwest Virginia, outside of Marion, Virginia, and it's out in the middle of nowhere. But it's world famous. How much a part of the area they were. But people lose their mind for Dip Dog. So now people apparently go in and sing the Dip Dog jingle to the people working there, and and I'm honored by that.
Dip Dog song, and yeah, it came up almost immediately when I did.
Is it on YouTube?
There is Bill and the Bells, Dip Dog, Sheffield.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's from the UK from last
Yeah,
year.
September 2019. Yeah. And then there's a kid singing the Dip Dog song in his car.
I'm telling you, it took the world by storm.
Yeah, that's awesome. The world famous Dip Dog stand now has, and it says Bill and the Bells, now has a song. So yeah, you definitely went viral. That's awesome. I'm not saying viruses are awesome, people. I'm saying that, yes, you going viral is pretty awesome. So I got to give a quick shout out to the person in the room with you there for Miss Madsen's magical music.
Isn't it awesome?
Yeah, it really is. And we got to have more episodes, Mandy.
Come over here.
Okay.
I am so impressed by Miss Madsen's magical music. And
I'm
she's
going
done
to
a
stretch
really
this out.
amazing
Here we
job.
go.
I can't.
There we go.
That's
There
better.
we go.
So that's a show that Mandy puts together. Tell them about it.
I've always wanted to have a kids TV show, and it was kind of like an idea I had in the classroom one day, and I'd been developing it with Natasha Drina, who you should have on your show.
Yes.
And,
actually, Natasha will be on next week.
Yes, she's the coolest. You're gonna have so much fun with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'd kind of been talking about it, and then life kind of took over, and then COVID happened, and wasn't able to like be in the classroom with my kids, and so I was like, and they also weren't asking us really to do anything, music teachers or the arts teachers at Garrison so much during that time because they didn't want to overwhelm the parents. But I really wanted to be present, and I wanted my kids, who I knew would be really sad during this time, to have like a reason to connect and still make music. And so I was like, maybe I'll just do a Facebook Live sing along, and tell every parent about it. And if they Facebook, they can come on with their kids, and we'll do interactive songs, and we did every week. And of course, I asked Kris to help me because he's an incredible instrumentalist, obviously, and he plays so many different instruments. And it was nice because he also hosts his own show, so he like really helped push Miss Madsen's magical music into a different direction. And hopefully this summer I'll get some real episodes going.
For me, it was so fun because it was like doing stuff that normally working up songs that normally never work up, and it's just kind of a joyous thing to do. Like every time we did it, it felt really good.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was really effective as far as connecting with the kids.
Yeah, the kids really loved it. Even like the teachers, and people who aren't even associated with Garrison, like just friends of mine would come on and just be like, we just wanted to come watch you guys play. And songs I've always like, Kris wrote a jingle about okra, and so we did an episode about food, which is one of my favorite subjects. And I was like, man, we should do the okra song because I've always wanted to teach it to my kids and never had a reason to, and now they finally get to learn it.
Yeah.
So now that'll be a staple in the classroom, I'm sure.
Awesome. Yeah, I love okra. I do, and not a lot of people.
I do too.
Yeah, not a lot of kids love okra.
I should have grown some okra in my garden this year, but I didn't. I need to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want to hear the okra song? It's short.
You know what? I'd love to hear the okra song. I'm going to sit on this time. We're gonna watch.
I'll play a short, condensed version of it.
Okay.
It's called Okra is a fruit, it's not a vegetable. Okra is a fruit, it's not a vegetable. Many people find it only mildly acceptable. Me, I love it and they say it's quite delectable, but not everybody likes okra. Okra is a subject that is often debatable. Some say they love it, others say it's quite hateable. Me, I fill a plate, I eat as much as I am capable, but not everybody likes okra. They say it's slimy and it's grimy and it's crunchy and it's wet, but I tend to disagree. Okra deserves some respect, 'cause okra's the best. Okra is a fruit, it's not a vegetable. Many people find it only mildly acceptable. Me, I love it and I find it delectable, but not everybody likes okra. Not everybody likes okra.
Lovely. Lovely. And I'm sitting here making faces the whole time just because I can't help myself. I do love okra though. I love it in soup. I love it fried. Yes.
We agree on that too.
Yeah.
Not only do we dress alike, but we like okra.
And we do have something else in common, I'm told. Do you happen to know what this is?
What? Is that a dancing board?
Yes, it is.
Is it really?
Yes.
Wow.
And I am told that you, as well as I, own a secret pair of tap shoes.
Nice. Nice, Mandy. Yeah, I sure do. My dream is to be able to tap, but I haven't been brave enough to put them on.
Yeah. Well, I see that. I mean,
do you take lessons or how do you learn?
so I took some lessons. Mandy knows this, but a couple of years ago, I was in Mary Poppins, and I was auditioning for the role of Bert, of course, because
Nice.
You, I hear as well, am a huge Dick Van Dyke fan.
Huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was like a dream role for mine. Of course, I didn't get it because there was a younger guy who was better at it. But I did get to be the dad, which was pretty cool. But when I did that, I did a lot of tap learning, and I took some classes. And since then, I've done a few online classes. But it's a very
when you did classes. Were there other adults in the classes, or was it just you and kids?
No, it was all adults. It was all an all adult class.
Cool.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been looking. For me, living in East Tennessee, I would have to travel over the mountain to Asheville to get proper tap lessons for adults.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I haven't been able to do that yet. But hey, we should put a tap routine together.
There you go. Even if it's just our feet moving around, I think that would be great. Well, I mean, awesome. The tap, it's a percussive instrument. So it's something you can add into a musical performance at any time if you got a good tapper. It's got to be a good tapper.
Yeah, that's for sure. I love tap, and a lot of people hear flatfoot, and there's a lot of similarities to that. So like, we'll go and play specific like dance shows that are just for dancers. Mm-hmm. And play a lot of fiddle tunes and stuff, and people come out like in droves in flatfoot, and it's just awesome to see. Yeah. There's a place here called the Carter Family Fold that's over in Hilton Head, Virginia, and it's about 45 minutes from here. But it's a big band shell, and I mean it fills up with dancers every week. Every weekend, every Saturday, there will be hundreds of people flat-footing. It's awesome, and they all wear taps. They don't. It's a very different style, but like the whole place just fills with these tap noises. It's so cool.
Wow, that's awesome. I would love to see that.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, Kris, I've enjoyed your music today, and I thank you so much for coming on. This has been a sheer joy.
Thanks for having me, man. I feel the same way. It's a pleasure to talk with you and see you again, and I hope everybody and your family's doing well and hanging in there, and appreciate you doing this. It's a really awesome effort, and like I said, I think it helps those of us who watch feel connected in ways that we wouldn't otherwise.
Thank you so much, Kris. All right, bye, Mandy.
Bye, Kris.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks for having
us. Bye, Kris. All right. Wow, that was joyous. And one day, Kris and I will share the tap stage together. That would be pretty awesome. But guys, enjoy your Friday, enjoy your Juneteenth, and I will see you back here on Monday, and I'll have a whole slew of new guests on next week for you to enjoy. Have a great day and a great weekend. And why did I put that up there? I don't know. I'm gonna go, I swear, as soon as I figure out technology. Technology's hard. There we go. And one more time. Goodbye.